Hello, thank you for tuning into my channel. We're making crumb blocks today, so if you want to see how to make a quilt block like this, please stay tuned. So lately I've been kind of obsessed with these crumb quilt videos that I've seen on YouTube, so I decided to start making my own. I've made 8 blocks. I'll put them down here. Hopefully you can see them. They are pretty cool, and they end up being different values or whatever depending on the colors that are chosen. And so this is just 4 of my 8, and I like, as I pull the fabric out, looking at it and connecting it with past quilts. Some of them are for a quilt that I'm working on right now. Some of them are for quilts that are 3-4 years old. So it's really cool. One good thing about working with crumbs is that you don't have to have a lot of fabric to start. You basically just have to have 2 pieces that you can sew together, and you can start building from there. So I'm going to show you my stash. I have some larger pieces, but they're stored in a different place. But this is my crumb stash or my strip stash or whatever. So I have a box, this little box. This was my first box from the Missouri Star, so you can see it right there upside down. And then I also have a little tote bag with some scraps in it. And then I have a larger bag with some scraps. This actually used to be the scraps for a quilt that I made, that the strips came in this bag. So I'm going to put this away, and then I'll show you how we get started. So this is how my crumb sessions typically start. So there are usually some pieces that are left over from some big blocks, like these pieces here, and I am looking for a way to incorporate these pieces into new blocks. This is a big block that I have that I've done. It's almost ready to cut, but I can't quite get the 10 inches on either side. So what I'm going to do with this is actually take this piece that kind of fits right here, and I'm going to sew it to that in just a second. The main way that I work these blocks is through chain piecing, and then I kind of look for what fits. So typically after I get a big block done, there's an open space, but right now I'm just starting to work in some blocks. Like I'm going to finish this one, and so that's going to open up a lot of space. So let me go ahead and sew this one on, and then I can show you how I incorporate some more pieces. And since you've seen me sew with a 1/4 inch, I won't do that really on camera. I'm just going to kind of show you, this is kind of where to start, and then I'll cut this block down and let you see what it looks like. So now that I've pieced this larger piece through, now it's time for me to do a more traditional step. So since I've already chain pieced, I'm going to cut this one off because it was the piece that was there before, and then I'll press it, I'll finger press it. And I've seen a lot of people go to their irons with this step, but I'm just doing this for the camera. I really do mostly finger pressing. I'm going to sit it to the side. So here I have some options, because I have this piece, and it could fit right there, except it doesn't. It's not quite long enough. So I'm just going to move it to the side for right now. And so at this point I get to start a new part, or a new chain. So I'm going to take this piece that's left over from cutting a block, and I have these 2 smaller pieces, and I like using these because they're already there's already more than one fabric on it. So I'm just going to take this and put it right sides together. Actually, I'll go this way. Put it right sides together, and I'm going to chain it along with this block. Alright, and you can do this with either a solid piece of fabric, or I've seen it done both ways, and I do it both ways. Both with a solid piece and then with a leftover piece. Alright, and so I'm also going to take this one. That's just a little smidge. Same thing. And so when I cut these apart, they will already look like they've been crumbed pretty good. Okay. And here. And there are a lot of seam allowances that go together this way, but I don't really stress about that. I think it'll be fine. Okay. And then, since I don't have any, well, actually I have this piece. Let's see if it'll fit. So it fits this way, and so I'll add it. And it's all good. We just want it to fit, and as long as it fits, we're fine. Here we go. And these are my only small pieces. So my next step is going to be to start digging into my stash. One of my little things. And since this is such a small piece, I'm looking for a small piece to go on top of it. Let's see. So I could try this one, but it's not quite, I don't like it. It's not big enough. I need a piece a little bit bigger. And I can save this for some, adding some strips to in a little bit. Let's see. Okay. Here we go. Found something. These little bits right here. So, I kind of remember where I put these, on another quilt. Oh, look, but I have lots of these, so I'll just leave those right there because I may need them. And so I'm just going to put this right sides together and sew down. Okay, so at this point, I can now take off the piece that was chained on before. And I typically leave, like if I sew a long strip like this, I just leave the whole thing on there and I cut them all at once. So now I'm going to go to the ironing board and I'm going to press this seam out, and I think I'll have enough to cut it, so I'll actually be able to cut it on camera. So let me press it first and I'll meet you back at the cutting table. I feel like this is out of order because I haven't even really made a full block on camera yet, but it's just the stage where I am, so I'm just going to show it. Now I have my piece here. This is the part that I just added on. I do want to show you this. When it comes to the seams on the back, what I've done is I've just kind of decided where the seam wants to go, and I just go with it. So there may be some parts where half of the seam wants to go one way, half of the seam wants to go the other way, and I just cut it. I'm trying to see if I can find a place where I've actually cut. Oh, so right here. Right here. When I got ready to press it, one side wanted to go this way and one side wanted to go that way. So I just snipped it up to the seam line. And that's a good way because you want it to lay as flat as you can, even though there are going to be so many joining seams. Okay, so let's go ahead and cut this. I'm going to cut this one at 10 inches. So all I'm doing is I'm going to go as close to the edge as I can with my 10 inches. Because what I want, hopefully there will be a little bit that I can actually throw away, and that's what I want, just a tad, a smidge to toss, but to keep as much of it as I can. All right, so here's my 10-inch line. Right here. See, can you see that? Right here. Okay, so there's 10 inches, and I'll cut the whole thing so that it matches at 10 inches. Let me zoom out just a bit. That's in. Okay, I'll show it. All right, so I'm gonna cut this side first. And all of this goes to new blocks. Then I'll go across the top. Okay. Then I'm going to flip it around. That's my phone. Flip it around and do the other side. All right. So when it gets this small, if it's smaller than, a half inch, I typically toss it. I typically put it in my dog bag that I've started. All right, and here is our finished block. It's so cute. Can you see it? Yep. And so now I'm going to take this and put it in the pile with the other finished blocks, and then I'll start working on a new block. So here's a more traditional way to start your crumbs. What I'm starting with is a strip of fabric that is kind of just plain, and then I'm going to start adding pieces to it to start the block. If you look over here to my left, these are this is just a few little blocks that don't really fit with each other, so that gives me an opportunity to start some new blocks. So I've just pulled, this is just a small strip of fabric, and I'm going to start stitching these guys right sides together, but pretty close together. And what's cool about this is that the blocks are automatically leaders and enders for each other. So that's really cool. So here's my first little piece, and I've just chosen to sew it on horizontal so that the long side is horizontal. The next one I'm just going to do different vertical. It does not matter, whatever you decide. And it depends on how big or small you want the piece to be. And what usually happens is these pieces, even though they start out looking one way, they'll probably get cut down eventually, you know, as the process goes on. Okay, so here's the third piece. And then the fourth piece is actually, I hope it's going to fit. It's two pieces together. Let's see if it's going to fit. Nope, it's hanging off just a little bit, but I can say, I'm going to sit it over here and see if I can find another piece. I'm just digging around in my scrap bin to see what comes up. And let's see. All I see is strips right now, so I'm looking for just some solid pieces. Let's see. Here's one. Even though I already sewed one like this on. Here we go. And then I'm going to look for one more. And it's really interesting to dig through these. Okay, I have this one, and I didn't even think about this before, but just sewing it sideways like this. So I could do that as well. So let me add this one. And since I already have one that's that was used as the leader, I'm going to take it apart. I'll take it off, and then this one was also a strip. It was actually a piece strip, so this looks like it was from my jelly roll race that I did, maybe. And I'm going to cut it apart. And then what I do first when I do this is look and see if it's going to fit anywhere that I've already done. And so I see it can kind of fit right there or over here. Let me pull it closer. Okay, so even without, I'm just going to automatically just sew it to here. And it's going to make the strip a little bit longer. So that's part of it. It really works. It's like putting a puzzle together. So that part of it is really neat. And then you basically just go on like this. So you sew one part on, and then what I do is I sew something, you know, and then I see if it fits somewhere else. So I have this piece, and I'll see if it fits somewhere, you know, and this one doesn't, and that's okay. And if it doesn't fit, that's fine. It actually will fit right well now. Okay. And then since I have this piece, you know, if you have pieces that are already, parts that are already pieced together, you can use those as well to, you know, they're just automatic pieces that can go in. They don't have to be stitched anywhere like this piece. It can go right here. Since this fabric is right there, I'm just going to turn it, but it does not even matter. It doesn't have to be the same fabric, as long as they all just work together. So it's just a process of building out till you get the piece as large as you want it, and then cutting it square. and starting over. So I'll until you get to whatever size that you need to. So I'm working for 10-inch squares so that I can do something else with them after I get them pieced. So when I started this video, I only had 8 blocks done, but at this point I actually have 11 crumb blocks, and they are so fun and so cute, and each one is so different. So my goal is to make 32 of these 10-inch blocks, and since I have 11, then I only have 21 more to go, and then I have some decisions to make about what I want to do with them. If you have any questions about crumb blocks, there are, number one, there are many videos on YouTube if you wanted to search it, but I can answer, hopefully I can answer a few questions if you have them too. So leave them in the comments below. Please thumbs up this video and share it with your friends, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.